And as you're doing that, I just want to say that we are so pleased that you have joined us this Saturday morning. And the we is urban missiology. Our motto is to encourage social change and transformation. And on our website, it describes why we think urban missiology is needed. It says that every urban community, both small and large, encounters challenging situations and they need leaders to respond. Within these communities are committed professionals and experienced leaders with expertise who make a significant difference by challenging the norms, advocating for change, shifting the culture, and creating transformative responses to issues impacting the well being of individuals, organizations, academia, and society. Urban missiology exists to promote social change and transformation for the next generation of change agents through education and publishing content submitted by people like yourselves. On if you take the time to look at our website, again, that's urbanmissiology.org. And missiology is missiology.org. You will find out that we have four categories that we're submitting. We're asking you to submit your stories, your questions, your poetry, etc. The four categories are: first, personal stories. The second has to do with mentoring. Perhaps you have been an unofficial mentor all your life. We're inviting you to submit to us articles, insights about mentoring. So, personal stories, mentoring, and then we are concerned with teaching and learning. What is it that you are teaching? What is it that you are learning? We want to be able to grow and understand from you and with you. And that last category is called dialogues. That is, what is on your heart? What interest do you have? And then we simply post them and invite people to comment, to share insights, to keep the conversation going. So again, we welcome you and we invite you to urbanmissiology.org because it is your community website where you are able to share what is important to you. Again, welcome to everyone. I want to say a special welcome to those who are partners and advocates with the Mariah Fearing Partnership, because it is because of a grant from them that we are able to provide this special program. So, Mariah Fearing Partnership, thank you. We want to begin and say welcome to everyone who is joining us, but especially the family and friends of our special guest, Mr. Jalen Murphy. So again, we are thankful for him and he will be introduced shortly. But before we do that, I do need to say another special thanks to Dr. Chris Acronero. She is operating behind the scenes with our technology, and we are just so thankful for her and her contributions. And now I want to say a special welcome to the one who is going to moderate today's session. She is a priest, Reverend Dr. Karen Feltner Wilkinson, and we're going to ask her to pronounce her last name because it's very French, and I don't know the French language. But Reverend Dr. Karen is a parish priest in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Denmark. She has studied theology in Denmark, in the USA, England, and most recently in Germany, where she received her PhD in systematic theology. Dr. Karen believes that dialogue is necessary to foster social change and transformative responses to problems within both the church and community. She is interested in interreligious and ecumenical conversations, and her engagement with urban missiology began when she and I developed a friendship in 2013 at the World Council of Churches 10th General Assembly in Busan, Republic of Korea. Now she is working as priest in Funen in Denmark, where she works with people of all ages, but in particular youth groups and the elderly. She lives with her husband and their 2-year-old son, and she is expecting their second child, which can come literally any minute now. So again, Karen, we welcome you and thank you for serving as our host moderator. Before you hear from Karen, I'm going to turn it over to my better half, Mr. Willie Haney, and he will introduce our guest speaker.
Good morning, everyone. I am proud to introduce this young man, Jalen Murphy, who is a sophomore student at the University of West Georgia, where he is currently pursuing a major in film and video production. Throughout most of his life, Jalen struggled to identify his career path. He wanted to be a culinary chef, game designer, public speaker, and even an architectural engineer. While he found so much wonder in those careers, the one thing that remained consistent in his search for a purpose was his love to create. Although he wouldn't admit it until his last year of high school, he loved to write and his ability to resonate with other people. It is his hope with his new venture in the film industry that he will inspire and impact others through writing and directing his own films. His future horizon unknown, but excites him to find out what's next, what's the next challenge may be. I now present to you Mr. Jalen Murphy.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? Um, Thank you, Mr. Haney. I appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody who's here today. Especially, I see a lot of my church family. I want to thank y'all for taking the time out to come. I see some of my family. I see Lynn, who is a part of our family. She's one of my mother's friends. And I just really appreciate y'all for coming out and celebrating this film with me and my future accomplishments and everything I've done before. So I appreciate everybody who's here. A part of the reason why I think I'm doing so well now and why I'm on such a good trajectory is because of a lot of the people that are here today. I really do not think that I would be who I am or how I am if it wasn't for my church family, and if it especially wasn't for my my family and some of my extended family. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I think I speak for us all to say that we're honored to be here and looking forward to this chat with you today, Jalen, about your poetry and your film. And I personally liked it very much. We're going to kick things off with watching your movie and to be able to discuss it better afterwards. And welcome to everyone. I'm Karen, and I'm the moderator for today. And I just want to say that the program is that we watch Jalen's film now together. Jalen will put it on shared screen, so you'll all be able to see it. Afterwards, we have a dialogue and a chat about the poem and the poetry and Jalen and what comes up, whatever thoughts and emotions we get from watching this. And it's really great to have you with us to answer some of these questions that are undoubtedly set in motion by watching your film. Afterwards, after we've watched it, I'll just quickly take the word again and introduce how we kick off the conversation. But let's start by watching the film, Jalen. If you can start it, that would be great.
Okay. I'm going to try and full screen it. Can you let me know if it's still viewable?
Sure.
Do you still see everything just fine?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. Dream. 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 What is a dream? When I think of that word, I think of all my passions, all my desires, wrapped into a metaphysical reality that I cannot currently see. Yes, that is a dream. An ideology that without me cannot take shape. An enigma that even when accomplished still creates more versions of itself. A never-ending hunger for something greater than ourselves. A dream. To sit upon this chair means to accept the journey that comes with it. As a chair, it's just a meaningless piece of furniture. However, sitting on it makes it take shape. It fulfills its duty. Taking on a dream, then, is much more arduous. As much as we would love to grab our dreams by the mantle, it isn't that simple. A lot of times, taking a seat in this chair means isolation, loneliness, failure, anxiety, periods of low self-esteem, discouragement, rejection, and it feels as though you're the most powerful force in the universe trying to push past an immovable object. Along the way, however, you will meet others. Those who also carry their own dreams, their own fantastical perspective. Soon that room that once was empty, that room that you sat in alone, will become more than just a room. Its walls will gain color. Its space will gain more furniture. It will grow from a simple action to a community of those who share the same determination as you. No matter the look of the room, no matter the boldness of the white that serves as a constant reminder of your progress, no matter the dead dreams you see lying around you, a cemetery filled with unreached potential, abandoned and forgotten, keep your eyes focused on the promise God has given you. It may be a while before that room changes. It may take years for that second chair to be added. But remember this. The physics and reality of our world was understood by man, but created by God, a being beyond comprehension. So while being in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, having to find shores sounds daunting and impossible. And it may sound stupid to say that you're closer to the other side. It is that ignorance, that refusal to accept reality, that puts you closer to the stars.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Very powerful. As you can all see, you're all on mute right now. And for the reason of the acoustics of this meeting, it's better if you remain unmuted throughout the meeting unless you pose a question or talk to Jalen directly. So I'll please ask you to all stay unmuted, muted, and then if you have a question, then go to the bottom of your screen. It says reactions. And if you push that button, reactions, it has a button saying raise hand. And you click that like so, you'll get a little yellow hand up in the corner. And I'll know that you have a question and I'll call on you. And when you post your question, then please press the button reactions again and say lower hand. So I know that everyone who has their hand raised will be new questions. But yeah, again, Jalen, thank you for sharing this. And I want to just ask out now, people, please ask questions and share reactions and tell us what comes to your mind when you watch this, or if you have anything for Jalen. I want to be selfish and kick things off. So I just want to hear what inspired you, what made you make this video and the poem, and which came first? Did you make it together, or did you write the poem first and then added picture?
So it's quite a bit of a story. Where do I even start? I started my sophomore year of college last semester. I kind of was how do I say, not thrown off, but when I came into college, there was a lot of transitions happening in my life. And I went through a very long period of depression and like anxiety and all types of emotions. So at the time when I came into school, I knew I wanted to do film around the first month or so. I actually changed my major from being undecided to doing film and video around July, or it was like a month or so before school had started. And so I came into school during the pandemic wanting to do whatever I could to learn more about film and get into it. And I remember spending that summer watching tons of videos about film and what goes into them. I rewatched a lot of my favorite films, analyzed them to see what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them, what they had that sort of made me feel passionate about them. And a lot of things got halted. I wasn't really able to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do. And that was on top of the fact that I was dealing with a lot of stuff mentally. And so it was a very rough year for me. And when I came into the second semester, my goal was to improve myself mentally and to try to, since things were opening up, I wanted to try to go after film again, since a lot of my opportunities were kind of shut off because of the pandemic. And so I started going to therapy around, I think it was November of last year. I'm no longer in therapy, which is a great thing, but to sort of get to how the film was created in the first place, I have to kind of explain that portion of it, because I told my family that the creation of this film took a year. Like, I made it in about 2-3 weeks, but to me, in my heart, it took about a year. I think this was something that was present within me all this time. There's something I read in a book that says everybody has a story to tell, and it needs a way to get it out. It's always in you. There's never a time where you don't have a story within you to tell. You just need something a catalyst to sort of get you to share that dream. And so how that happened was because I had sort of built a relationship with God over that last year, I wanted to have some sort of gathering between the Christian organizations on campus. And so I tried reaching out to some people, and one of the people that used to go to the school was involved in the choir that's still present at our university. And she was in the humanities building on campus. And so I go into the humanities building, and as you can tell in the video, it looks very abandoned. It looks like somebody hadn't touched it for years. That was because they're transitioning that building and remodeling it. And that was the beginning stages of that period. And so when I went in there, the only people who were there were like staff and teachers, a part of the mass communications and film program. So that was their offices. So they had to go there to go work. So they were only on the first floor. And the person that I was looking for, her room was on the third floor. And so I go on the elevator to the third floor. And for some reason, I'm walking around and it doesn't strike me that nobody is up here. So I'm looking for this lady, and I'm just awestruck by everything that I'm seeing. And the whole time I was thinking, I gotta take pictures. I gotta take pictures. But I wanted to find this lady first. And obviously, I did not find her. And so I spent the next 2 hours, I think, taking pictures and all of that stuff. And the only reason I stopped was because I had to go to class. So I would have stayed up there the whole time. And I kept coming back. I can't tell you how many times I came back, because it was almost like an everyday type of thing. Like it sort of became this space for me to express myself creatively. And I started taking video of everything that I saw that struck with me. And after about a week of taking a whole bunch of videos, I was like, I should make a poem about it. And so I made the poem, and it took a while for me to make the poem because I had the idea to make the poem, but I didn't actually sit down and make it until I had all of the video that I wanted. And so when I remember it took about 3-4 days to write that poem, because I would write it and then I didn't like it, and so I would throw it away, and I write it again and I would throw it away, and I kept throwing it away. And so I remember just praying about it, and God told me to go back to the room that I shot that dream share shot in. And so by Holy Spirit's guidance, I went back. I kid you not. I got the chair, and they were moving stuff around, so like I had to take the chair and like hide it somewhere so they wouldn't touch it. And so I got that same chair. I sat in the middle of the room just like you saw in the video. I kid you not. I sat down in that chair and I wrote it in one take, and it just came to me. And so I made the video, I submitted it to a film festival, and I ended up winning the film festival, and I got an award for that. And so the creation, I don't watch this video a lot. I tend to do that. That's just kind of a personal me thing. I'll make something, and then once I'm done with it, I just don't. It's not that I don't like it or that I like have disdain for it or anything. It's just like, one, I kind of don't really like hearing my voice a lot. And then two, when I make something, I sort of move on from it mentally to the next thing. I'm always thinking about what's the next thing. And so I naturally and when I make something, I just kind of, it's present for that moment in time, and then I'm kind of just done with it. That was a very long answer to your question, and there's still a lot of stuff that I noticed I'm missing from explaining, but yeah,
But I think it really captures how, as you express it in the poem, that dreaming is a process, and this was an expression of a long process of
Yes.
thoughts and experiences, and then suddenly this potential became actuality, if that, which is
Yeah.
also touch upon in your poem. I think it was a very interesting and great introduction to the poem and the film. And I want to give the word to anyone in the room wanting to ask you further about this. Mr. Haney, you had a question. I noticed the raised hand. Please unmute yourself before you start talking, by the way. And I just need to turn on some light in my room. I can see it's getting dark here in Denmark, so just 1 second. But Mr. Haney, please unmute yourself.
I think you're still on mute.
We still can't hear you. Can I unmute you? Chris, can you help me?
I think he's trying to get somebody else to unmute him.
I'm trying to do that. I haven't been able to.
I can't do it either. I'm so sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Hear it now?
Yeah,
yeah,
we can hear you.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Well, I thought it was very well written. And as if you were looking through the eyes of the young adults that I deal with in school, because a lot of them are not dreaming. They don't have dreams. It's like the dream board is not in their reach right now. And as if they don't have a future because they're not dreaming. They don't see themselves in where they fit in any particular area now. And I think you expressed it greatly. And it's almost as if you were looking through all these young people's eyes and just putting it out there and sharing it with everyone. I thought it was well written.
Thank you. I don't even know how to explain it in a way that fully expresses my gratitude. Everybody that has seen this film has said something different about it. It's like everybody sort of puts themselves into that view of creating their own dreams and everything. And so I remember my mother told me that she had showed this video to somebody at work. And at the time, she was trying to figure out something in her life because I think she was transitioning from her job to, I think, retirement or something along those lines. And she was very nervous about it. And she said that when she watched the video, she started crying. And when how do I explain it? That's what I mean. It's very weird to explain. I don't ever want to lose that gratitude, if that makes sense. I think that it's great that I made this film and that people like it and that they're transformed by it. But this feeling that I have of putting something out there and people interpreting it in their own ways and having such a positive effect on their lives, I don't ever, no matter how big I get, no matter how many films I make, I don't ever want to lose that. I don't ever want to lose that joy and that impact of hearing somebody who saw something I made and it touched them so much that it made them cry. Because I mean, it's for some people it's easy to cry when you watch things, but then for other people it takes a lot for them to cry because of how they deal with their emotions. So to me, when someone cries about something you made, that means that it touched them somewhere that you don't even know what I don't know her story, at least the full extent of her story. She could have been crying because of that. She could have been crying because of something that the film made her think about in her life. I'm not sure, but what I do know is it had an emotional impact, and that's something that I want to be a constant with everything that I make. I want to put the same amount of passion that I put into this, into everything I make, to touch people the way that I touch her and plenty of other people. So
We're definitely also getting a lot of positive comments in the chat room, but no no direct questions, but I can tell your family is very proud of you.
I
Karen,
have a-
Marvin has had his hand up for a bit, and then,
Oh, sorry.
Debbie is also wanting to ask a question, but I'm getting some kind of voices in the background, somewhere, like somebody is on a cell phone somewhere in your room or in the other part of your house, or so. So if all of you could make sure that you're muted if you're not speaking directly, I'd really appreciate it.
I'm so sorry, I can't see these raised hands.
That's okay. I'll just,
Yeah.
like, they're raising their hand like this instead of doing the thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so Marvin and then Debbie.
Okay. And Marvin, are you unmuted?
Yes, I think
Okay.
we're, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
It's not Marvin, it's Joanne,
okay, Joanne.
but Marvin and I are here. It really struck me when it started out with that single chair, that it was a person was feeling one thing there. And as it went on, to me, it was like changes of life that the person would go through. And when it got to where all the chairs were jumbled up, I thought, oh, that's a perfect picture for all the things that might go through a person's life and they feel maybe confused. And that I really liked the film. It was very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That I forgot there. I think there's a little story with that too. That was actually one of the last pieces of video that I took for that video. It wasn't like, I think that I had intended to have the previous shot just continue and just leave that part, but the idea of having more people come into that room, even though it's just a single chair. And I remember at that part, I say something along the lines of, you know, it may start off lonely and it may start off like you're the only person that's there. So to have a shot that's sort of counteractive to that thought is the idea that once we step into our dreams, our reality changes from being something that is normally isolated into something that is overwhelming. Like you think about, you know, the one piece of Psalm 23 where he says, you know, God will pour into your cup until it completely runs over. I think that having a dream and being passionate about it, when you chase after it, a lot of times you have people that will support you, you have people that won't support you. And oftentimes you look for support from the people that don't want to support you the most sometimes. And so you have to stay dedicated to the fact that although it will be lonely, you will continue to chase after your dreams, and that will pay off 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5, however long it takes. If you truly chase after what God has for you, I don't think that there's anything that can stop that room from growing with all of those shares, despite what we may say about it in the current moment. So, yeah.
And we have a question from Debbie. Please unmute yourself, Debbie. If possible.
I don't know where she went.
Oh, no. Okay, we'll just see if she comes back. Then there's a question. Bonnie has a raised hand.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Jalen. My question is, yes, it's Auntie. How do you feel your journey with your mental health in your dream? How do you feel like incorporating your struggle with mental health will help your generation to be able to see that it's okay, and seeking help helps you go through your path towards your dream?
100%. I think people underestimate the power of images, and having images that sort of allow people to express themselves, even if it's not something that they themselves created, is important to the process of promoting the narrative that we're trying to create. And so we're currently in an era where people are being more open about mental health and being more honest about it. And I think that that's a great thing. I think we still have a long ways to go in terms of how we approach it. But one of the avenues that I think people have used a lot, even in the past, and that people are kind of more so paying attention to now, is film. I think film is a multi-million-dollar industry, and whatever we put into it is a reflection of the world that we currently live in. So, I mean, for example, the fact that we're seeing so many Black creatives now is a sign that we're progressing in integration into the film industry and having more voices and more different looking people. So in terms of mental health, I think that for me, because of kind of how deep my mind tends to get, I don't ever see myself making a film that wouldn't involve something philosophical or mentally, not mentally charged is the word, but just something that's mentally challenging, that sort of makes us question a lot of the deeper thoughts in our mind. I think that that's all I'm ever going to create, just because of how I think of art and how I look at things. So 100%, I think that I will touch a lot of the mental and sort of philosophical questions in my films, but I also think that doing that is a step forward to allowing people to sort of have sort of like a catharsis with it. And I think that that is personally what makes film so good to me, is you can watch a film and take something away from it and view life differently, or at least view life from another perspective that you might not have thought of initially. So Karen, you're muted.
Sorry. We have Debbie back, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's Debbie first and then Frenchie Hodges. Debbie, if you can unmute yourself, that would be great. Excellent.
I think
Hello.
hello, okay. I'm Dolores Bryant Booker, and have known Jalen for such a long time, and
Yes.
so proud of everything that he's doing. I actually had a conflicting appointment this morning, so I wasn't able to join at the beginning. And so what I really want to know is the video going to be available at some other time? Because I very much would like to watch it. I am very, very impressed with how articulate Jalen is and how he's able to just really touch the soul of so many people, and appreciate so much how his faith journey, how he's able to express his faith journey and his connection to God. And thank you so much. Thank you, Jalen.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. So
It's on your,
yeah, so if you go to YouTube and you look up Studio Bond, B-O-N.
Studio BON.
Yes, ma'am. If you look that up, the video is on my YouTube channel, so you can watch it as many times as you like.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem.
And this whole meeting is being recorded. So what we're saying right now is also being recorded, and it's being put on the Urban Missiology's website, and you can all watch it again. for
Yeah.
Jalen's answers to all our questions and this conversation. So it will be online too, and it's at urbanmissiology.org. I'm sure Marcia will mention that in the end as well.
And can you put
French?
Can you put that information in the chat?
Sorry,
I can
yes.
also put the YouTube channel in the chat as well in case
Okay.
you can't find it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
already there.
And we have a question from Frenchie Hodges. Debbie, will you mute yourself again, please? And then we have a question.
Good morning. I
Good
didn't
morning.
have a question. I didn't have a question. I had a comment,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
I had been interested in viewing the film again. So that was the other part of my comment. But I wanted to commend Jalen on the work that he is doing. I've known him and seen him growing from earliest stages to the present. And I am just enthused, and I see great things for you, Jalen.
Thank you.
I wanted to go back and talk about your major. Did I understand you to say that you had selected a major and you changed majors, or were you in the process of selecting a major?
When I joined my university, I came in as a art major, but technically I was undecided because at the time I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So a month before school, I had felt called to do film, and so I changed my major to film and video production. So that is my official major.
Okay, well, kudos to the film world for getting your attention.
Thank you.
Right, I see a raised hand from Jada Alexander. And if you'll please unmute yourself, then go ahead.
Hi, Jalen.
Hello.
Hi, been listening and was just really reflecting on your process, your reflective process, and how once you complete a project, you tend not to go back to it. But today you had to see it with the rest of us. And I'm curious to know what emotions arose for you, or what imagery arose for you, and what critical reflections came up for you, just as an observer in the same space with other observers. Was it different from from the initial artist perspective that you had, or did you still have that lens even today?
Okay. Well, first off, I want to say it's good to see you. It's been a long time. And I also want to say, if y'all like my voice and how I sound, y'all have her to thank for that. She was a mentor to me when I was very young, and she was a mentor to my brother as well. She taught us a lot about public speaking and speaking with authority. And so I'm very thankful to Jarder for that. And I have not forgotten that. If my brother is here listening, he has not forgotten about that either. And we still think about you and thank you for everything that you've done. But to answer your question, I have a very critical mind. So when I watch stuff that I make, or art that I made, if I draw on something or poetry or anything, I tend to look at things as like, what could I have done better? What could I have changed? What would I improve on? But watching it again, because I watched, the last time I watched this film was when me and my family had sat down to watch the film after I had made it. And that was about 2-3 months ago. It was a long time ago. And so when I watch it again, I have this, it brings me back to the place of when I was making it. And so even though I have a lot of, not, how do I say it? it's not reservations, even though I kind of have like a weird thing with how I listen to my voice, and it can be kind of like weird to listen to it, if that makes sense. Um, I have I can't help but smile when I watch it because I remember how much passion I had and how much wonder I had when I made that video. Like I remember the last shot, or one of the last shots, where it's the zoom in of the lights coming from the top of the building. I remember doing that clip, and I had my little tripod with my iPhone, and I pointed it up, and when I saw it through the video, I was like, yo, this is just sick. I love it. I love it. So I I still personally like the video, even though there are things that I look at and I would change about it. But I just, when I watch it, I have this feeling of passion, and it's sort of a reminder as to why I like doing film and why I love everything about it so much. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It does, and thank you for sharing your passion with us.
No problem.
Right. If anyone else has questions, please go to the reaction button at the bottom of your page and press raise hand. And if not, I would like to ask you, Jalen, or meanwhile, while people are thinking, I want to ask you about how you perceive the relationship between individual and community, because that seems to be a theme as well going on in your movie. The start with the one chair, and then others coming and joining, and maybe leaving again. And if you can just elaborate a little bit on that, I think that's really interesting.
I think one of my beliefs is that you can accomplish things on your own, but there's always going to be obstacles, and sometimes you need people to get over those obstacles. For example, with the whole idea of community, at the end of my video, one of my friends, Caleb Gilbert, helped me edit the video because at the time the computer I had was just not good enough to edit with, and so it would crash. It was really slow. And so we had to actually use a program called Parsec, which essentially allows you to use another person's computer through streaming. So it's kind of like using Zoom, except I can control what's on your computer. And so I sent him the video, and we would share the videos and we would edit it together. And so as individuals, we have dreams and accomplishments that I think we can do our best to try to accomplish, but there are always going to be issues present that will require other people. And the beauty with that is that those problems sort of create connection. You know, it's that problem that requires people to sort of connect with each other, and then they build a relationship, and then it grows into whatever it grows into. And so as individuals, we can accomplish our dreams as much as we can. But when it gets to a certain point, I think that other people allow you to express those dreams better, and they allow you to view things from another perspective and improve on what you've already made. So, yeah.
And then in the end of that, like, process or trajectory or whatever you call it, then there is God's promise perhaps, or you have sort of like God placed as the ultimate dreaming point, if that makes sense. That's
No.
how I, yeah.
That you have to, what I found is God will tell you things, but and sometimes because of the amount of time it may take between God telling you something and it happening, you may think that you're crazy. I have personally found that God does not lie. God has never lied to me in my life. So when I get something, a word from God, I have to be you know, I'm pretty sure it says in the Bible, you write it down so that it's plain, so that it can't be mistaken, that it can't, you know, if you ever come back to a time where you question, oh, was I thinking correctly when I said that? You write it down. And so I know for a fact what God has told me. And I know for a fact that it was God that was the reason why this video came out the way that it came out, just the way that I spoke, the way that the words came, everything. And so God is the ultimate authority over our lives. So when he gives you a word about the trajectory of your life, I think that circumstances may lead you to believe that that trajectory is false or that it's impossible. But that's what faith is for, right? That you believe in the things that you can't see. And so it's a combination between God being the ultimate authority, but you also having the faith to trust that authority. There has to be a trust that links those two things together. Because if you don't trust it, you know, your life can go all different places. And the funny thing about it is, you know, a lot of people spend their lives sort of going against what God may have for their life. And then they'll just circle around and end up right back where they were going to be in the first place. And so it takes faith and trust for sure.
Thank you. Mr. Haney, you had another raised hand.
I just wanted to ask Jalen, have you presented this film to a younger audience, like the high schoolers and middle school students, just to kind of?
I have presented it to my friends who are in my friend group, not friend group, but age group. And some of them, I think one of them is still in high school. Most of them are my age, young adults in college, some may be out of college. And they're able to relate to it in a way that I think is probably more, like, I think everybody here is obviously able to relate to it, but from a younger perspective, when you have, I wouldn't say the peak of your ambition, but it's a period in your life where, especially in the generation that is coming up with us now, a lot of people are sort of very have a very go-getting mentality. And so they want to chase after their dreams with like everything they have, despite whatever obstacles may come into their peripheral. But their view on it is from a more younger perspective. And that perspective sort of influences them to chase after whatever they're chasing after. And yeah, but in terms of like showing it to younger people, like groups of younger people that are in high school and middle school, I haven't done that. I don't know how I would actually do that, honestly. But if there are younger people that you feel like you will want to show this video to, or if you will want to pass this video along to somebody who would be able to show it to younger people, I, you know, highly encourage it. Not just because I made the film and I want more people to see it, but because I think that it will allow them to view things from that perspective, looking forward into their life, even if they can't understand it. Because I think it's important that we show younger children and things and experiences, even if they can't understand it at the time. Because I was in church and I didn't understand what was really going on, but now I have a dedicated relationship with God. And so introducing children to those ideas early is important, because even if they don't necessarily understand it now, later on in their life, and this is coming from personal experience, they will look back on those things and understand the purpose those things had, and they'll connect them to things in their life that will positively benefit them. So
as the clock is approaching 11, I just want to ask if there is anyone who has any last questions or remarks for Jalen at this point, then please feel free.
Yeah, I'll just unmute everybody and we'll see who has what to say here if I do that.
Good idea.
Either that or unmute yourself.
Please, any final comments or questions, then unmute yourself and just dive right in.
It's so funny. It allows me to mute everybody, but not unmute.
I'll jump in. Jalen, I hope nothing but the best. I can't wait to watch you grow and explore more and see where God takes you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well done, Jalen.
I appreciate
Absolutely,
Aunt Rita.
Jalen. Absolutely.
Thank you, y'all. Thank you. Thank you.
Inspiration. And
Great way to start a Saturday morning. I appreciate it.
Amen.
Thanks, Jalen.
That's it.
Hillside is
you.
really proud of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Jalen, I think that one thing you can do to challenge young people is to use your voice and create their own video based on your story already. So use your audio, they create their own video, and you can, and them doing that will help them understand, their dream, and they can show their dreams through your voice. I think that would be a nice challenge for younger people.
I think that's a good idea.
That'd be
Based
nice.
on your audio.
Good idea.
Thank you, Jalen. So
Yes.
proud of you.
Yes.
And I'll continue to pray for you. And we are still here as your community. You
Thank
need
you, thank
us.
you.
Yes.
Don't be hesitant to call and to just know that we're here for you. Love you, and we'll look forward to great things from you. Even going to seminary.
Well.
That is up in the air.
God bless you. God bless you.
We'll see what God has to say about that.
Yes.
Amen.
We'll see.
Amen. And speaking of which, my theological lexicon will now include the term, a dedicated relationship with God. How beautiful a term. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Well, friends, we certainly want to thank you for joining us at this special occasion. We thank you for your insightful questions and for your responses. And Dr. Karen, you did such a wonderful job as our host. So we thank you tremendously. Beautiful, just the way you handle questions, insights in your own way. So thank you very much. And to Jalen, we are so grateful for your generous spirit, for your passion, and for insights into your faith journey. You have inspired us, and we are so grateful for you. And you said something I want to lift up, and that is that everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell. And as I look out, I see at least 2 people who have already written for Urban Missiology and shared their stories, and that is Dr. Betty Dura and Ms. Frenchie. We thank you for your stories, and we want to encourage everyone to realize, as Jalen said, you have a story inside of you being birthed right now, and we invite you to share your stories with us in Urban Missiology, because sometimes it's the people like us. I mean, we don't necessarily write books, we won't be in the newspaper, but we do have something important to say. So again, I want to encourage you to write and to know that Urban Missiology is sponsoring 2 upcoming workshops. So please pay attention to our website. One is going to be offered by Dr. Rosetta Ross of Spelman. She's going to offer an online writer's workshop. And the other will be offered by Miss Shauna Shapiro. She is a Jewish writer, and she is planning an interfaith writers workshop. And that will take place in person in the greater metro Atlanta area as soon as it is safe to, to move about. So again, please look at our website. We want to hear from you. For those of you who came in late, we have at least 4 different places where you can write stories. Your own personal story is one. Teaching and learning. Let us know what it is you're teaching. Let us know what it is you're learning. The other one has to do with mentoring. Everybody should be mentoring someone. So let us know about your insights into mentoring. Excuse me. And then the last section is called dialogue. So we invite you just to share whatever's on your mind, whatever your thoughts, so that we can engage in conversation. So again, as we prepare to close, we thank God Almighty for this opportunity. We thank God for the inspiration that is developing in the minds of our young people, our children, and our young adults, especially like Jalen. And I cannot help but say that during this month, I am so aware of our ancestors who are gathered around us and who are encouraging us on this journey. I know you have your personal ancestors who are encouraging you. And then there are those who, as Jalen talked about, the community, Gay Wilmore, Bernice Warren. There's so many that we can name, but Jalen's dream reminded us that we are not here alone. And we do stand on the shoulders of those who have come before us. And we do have ancestors that are encouraging us on this journey, as we should encourage one another. So again, thank you, Jalen, for your sermon. It really was a sermon, a beautiful sermon. And we thank you for that here.
Thank you.
May God continue to bless you and your friends and family and all that you touch. Friends, go in peace, knowing that this is a season that God is calling us to stand up, to use our voice, and to move forward. Go in peace.
Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.